Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Friday, the 29th of October, 2021. I hope you're COVID-free and healthy today. I hope that your family is also healthy and COVID-free and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met. Blessing upon those that work in the healthcare field who try every day to save lives, to comfort sick, to help people that can't help themselves. Blessings also upon those that pick up garbage for us, that keep our neighborhoods clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on those trying to help, trying to deliver, trying to rescue babies, toddlers, boys and girls, teenagers, and adults from human trafficking, from sex slavery, which is going on a global basis, being sponsored by rich and powerful people, from prostitution, from child prostitution, from pornography and child pornography and molestation and pedophilia. Blessing upon those that are trying to deliver, trying to save, trying to rescue innocents from these situations that destroy human minds and human bodies and human lives. And double curses on those that support these industries. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. 600,000 men, women, children, families, veterans on the streets of the United States of America today with no place to stay, no roof over their head. It's living outside. And millions around the world in the same situation. Blessings upon them. For theirs is the kingdom, and blessing on those trying to help even in a small way. There was a basketball game last night. The New York Knicks played the 5th game of the season against the Chicago Bulls. Early season game for sure, but a statement game, especially for the Knicks and the Bulls. The Bulls were undefeated. The Bulls up to their best start since 1996 when they had Dennis Rodman, Michael Jordan, and Scottie Pippen playing for them. And so they were off to a tremendous start. Up and coming team, a lot of expectations with the new additions they had at DeMar DeRozan and Lonzo Ball. And of course, the talent they already had with Vucevic and of course, Pat Williams and others. It was going to be a dogfight. We knew it. Okay. But the Knicks were the superior team. We thought their bench strength, as well as certain matchup problems the Knicks would present, were going to cause them to be victorious. And it was. And the game was close at the end, but it didn't need to be that close. And let's talk about that. First of all, 3 years ago, 2018, the Knicks drafted a relatively unknown player. He was maligned. He had been a top high school, definitely top 25, top 10 high school player. Went to a couple of colleges and dropped out and decided to just focus on the NBA draft. And he got picked by the New York Knicks in his 36th pick of the second round. That was Mitchell Robinson. The Knicks got the steal of the draft that year. DeAndre Ayton was the number 1 overall pick. Of course, that was the year also I think Luka Doncic was picked. Not saying Mitchell Robinson is Luka Doncic, but everybody expected Luka Doncic to be who he is. So we got the steal of the draft that year in the second round. And last night, the defense, the intimidation that Mitchell Robinson showed on the floor is why I say with him being healthy, the Knicks are going to be a top 3 team in the East. As of this morning, the Knicks are at the top of the pile in the East, but it's just very early in the season. We got a long way to go. But the Knicks have so far this season beaten the 76ers, the Bulls, and the Celtics. 3 perennial playoff teams. The Knicks have beaten all 3. Okay? They lost to Orlando, which was a good loss in the sense that it awakened the Knicks to not take any team lightly. It awakened us individually, especially Julius Randle, to not try to force his game. Speaking of Julius Randle drafted out of the University of Kentucky after his freshman season at age 18 or 19, came to the Lakers, and in his first season, in the beginning of his first season, he broke his leg, pretty much canceled his first season. Comes back in his second season. Julius Randle was a high school All-American, high recruit of John Calipari at University of Kentucky. And so he always had, coming out of Dallas, Texas, always had the ability to play basketball at a high level, bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic. than the majority of his peers, as most people in the NBA are. And when he gets to the NBA, he seemed limited. First, he's left-handed. Couldn't shoot from any distance outside mid-range. Created a lot of turnovers. Did not play good defense. One thing, though, that nobody, I think, understood from my perspective, except people behind the scenes like Kobe Bryant, is that how hard Julius Randle was going to work on his craft. How much work he was going to put in to become the best basketball player he could be. And so he showed improvements. First, the Lakers gave up on him, basically, and he went to New Orleans on a 2-year deal. And at the end of that 2-year deal, Scott Perry came out with, Scott Perry and the former president of the New York Knicks came out and signed him to a 3-year, $63 million deal, 2 years guaranteed with the third year as a team option. Again, the first year, he was playing under David Fizdale, and we see what happened. It was pretty much a disaster being the point forward, as David Fizdale was trying to make him into. But then the second year came, and he worked hard, and he worked diligently, and he studied, and he became a really good three-point shooter. Whereas he first came in the league, he couldn't even shoot 15 feet. He became a good defender. He was already a good rebounder, so that continued. And he improved in every facet of his game, so that he was named the NBA's most improved player, a first-time All-Star, and All-NBA. So now, this year, Julius Randle is recognized as the number one option on the New York Knicks. And so, whenever I'm critical of Julius Randle at this point, it's because I see greatness in Julius Randle. I see greatness. I see the possibility of greatness. Greatness to me is dictated how you play in the big games, especially in playoffs. And we know he had a hard time last year, but I see the possibility of greatness. So when I'm criticizing him, it's not because I think he's a bum. As a lot of Knick fans and Knick Nation use, those type of terms with him. Even though I did agree that he should be traded at the beginning of last season based on what he did the season before, not knowing what he would become. Now that I do know, now that I do see, now that the work that he's put in has been made manifest, no, I see greatness. And so it spoils me whenever he doesn't do right for even a little while. Like, so last night he was ball watching one time and somebody backdoored him, and that was that. And in the fourth quarter, he forced things a little bit and got stripped by Lonzo Ball. Missed some really critical free throws down the stretch. But I don't want to dwell on that. Only reason I mention it is because I can see Julius Randle eventually is going to overcome those issues. He's going to overcome them. And that's why I say I see greatness. And that bodes well for the New York Knicks. It's because for most of the game, Julius Randle has learned not to force, to let the game come to him. He has learned to get his teammates involved. Last night, Julius Randle had 9 assists. He is still a top flight rebounder from the power forward position, having 16 boards last night, including 4 on the offensive end. And so his overall game was tremendous last night. Him and Mitchell Robinson showed what the Knicks can be. And Kemba Walker finally starts asserting himself a little bit more. Him being the leading scorer with 21 points. He only took 12 shots, but he was 5 of 6 from 3. Ridiculously efficient. And of course, there's RJ Barrett, who before the game yesterday, I had said, I expect him to be all over Levine, but it might hurt him offensively. Well, I was wrong. It did not hurt him offensively, as Barrett was 8 of 15. He was the most efficient from the field for the Knicks, 8 of 15. 1 for 3 from 3, 3 of 3 from the line, 3 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 20 points. An efficient game, and really the game-winning defensive play against DeMar DeRozan. So, yeah, there's that. And RJ is going to be a problem for the NBA. And he's developing, and guess what? While some in Knick Nation don't know it, the NBA does know it. They know it. And so he is developing at age 21. He says his goal is to be all NBA defense. And I believe him. And so he showed that last night. The interesting thing about the game that the Knicks, to me, are the superior team. Two things. We were hurting ourselves a little bit, in the second quarter. And the refs were hurting us. RJ was getting banged on, not getting no call. Julius also not getting no call. So it's all good. And they were giving calls to Levine like somebody blew on his arm and he'd get a call, So that's also was working against us. But, also it was interesting to note, Chicago also plays small ball at times. They start off with Vucevic, but they'll sub in Tony Bradley and Elise Johnson and they'll play small ball. And that gave us a little bit of trouble last night. They came back with their small ball lineup with Caruso coming off the bench. And so that was what made it an interesting game. But the Knicks are clearly, to me, the superior team. Okay. And the difference, really the difference between the two teams, the Knicks are superior on defense. And they tried to exploit, which I didn't see coming, but they tried to exploit the Bulls' weakness on defense by getting inside. And they did that. Julius was getting inside. RJ was bully balling. That's how he got his baskets. He only hit 1 3. He only took 3 of them. But he was bully ball, last night. And so, they exploited the Bulls defensively. Now, generally, Billy Donovan's team plays good defense, but I think we understand Levine, Vucevic are not known to be, really good defenders. They're just not. And then you have, Pat Will is a good defender, but he's only 20 years old. And of course you got Lonzo Ball, who's a really good defender. And he did a job on Julius last night. You would not think that Julius Randle would have trouble with somebody that was 6'6", maybe $120. No, maybe like 200 pounds at the most. Lonzo's probably $180. But the length, the defensive ability of Lonzo Ball was made manifest, and he was really giving Julius some problems, right? Like I said, he stripped him a little bit, and it wasn't Julius. Lonzo's a really good defender, period. So there was that. But with Levine and Vucevic, those are two weak spots on defense for the Chicago Bulls. DeRozan is good, on defense. He's a solid defender and he's a closer. And he was doing that last night. He finished with 20 points. Vucevic finished with 22. Levine finished with 25, but I didn't even see, it didn't feel like 25. I was surprised when I saw at halftime or 3 quarters, he had like 17. I was surprised because RJ was doing the job on him. Just like Lonzo was doing the job on Julius, RJ was getting in Levine's behind. So it was really, I thought that was an even match. Caruso played very well on both ends of the floor. High IQ, good defense coming off the bench for Chicago. So did Troy Brown. But the Knicks bench is better. The Knicks defense is better, period. Just as how it is, So, the Knicks to me are the better team having beaten Philly, Chicago, Boston already this season. Okay. Beat all those teams. So, and just beat Chicago in Chicago. Whereas 2 of Chicago's wins have come against Detroit, right? So, yeah. And then they barely beat Toronto on Monday. All right. So here, the Knicks, gave them all they can handle. Now, kudos to them. They were scrappy. They really, and I expect them also to get better as the season goes on. Matter of fact, I mentioned there's a changing of the guard that appears to be happening in the NBA. Your Brooklyn Nets are struggling. They're 2-3. Okay. They're 2-3. Your Indiana Pacers are 1-4, but I believe Indiana's going to come back stronger because, when LeVert comes back, which I think he's going to come back sometime in November. And then I don't know when, TJ Warren is coming back, but those 2 guys are going to make a big difference for that team. But again, the best ability is availability, and they're not available right now, and it's hurting their team. So Brooklyn, if Kyrie Irving doesn't come back, Brooklyn's going to be in the play-in. It's going to be like play-in to 8, something like that. If Kyrie Irving doesn't come back. Okay. They need him badly. When he comes back, they become a top 4 team in the East. But with Harden and Durant, now Durant by himself with 4 high school players could probably make a playoff because that's how good he is. But, with him and Harden, they don't have enough. I don't see them having enough. Right now, they 2-3 and they losing to all kind of teams, man. So they're going to have a problem. Then you got Boston, who was a perennial powerhouse. Everybody talking about how improved they are. I didn't see great improvement except the development of their 2-star wings. They're 2-3. right? Toronto's up and coming. Philly's up and coming because Ben Simmons is probably going to come back eventually. But Joel Embiid is already hurt. He's playing on a sore knee. So you're going to get plus and minus from him. I don't know. So and then of course Milwaukee's 3-2. They've lost on their home floor to Minnesota. So they, I don't know. We're going to see what happens. But Giannis is not. And the problem with Milwaukee, again, they're missing Brook Lopez. They're missing Jrue Holiday. Two major pieces for them. Okay. Again, no availability means they're in trouble. See? So these are all having struggles. Now, Atlanta is good. We know Atlanta is good. They're deep. Cam Reddish is playing his butt off. They lost a game. I think it was last night to the Wizards. Yeah, they lost to the Wizards, but Cam Reddish was, they're so deep at the wing spot. Cam Reddish was doing work. He ended up with 20 last night. He was being aggressive. 8 of 14. He was only 1 of 5 from the 3-point line, but if you watch the game, he was really causing a problem for Washington. And that DeAndre Hunter, man, they really got good rings. Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, they got a trio of rings right there. That's, they're really good. So, you can't sleep on them. They had, Gallinari back last night, but it was an interesting matchup between Gallinari and Bertans in that they canceled each other out pretty much last night. They're pretty much very similar players, jump shooters, right? So that was a good game, but Atlanta is not guaranteed to be, what they were last year. But then again, that's Nate McMillan coaching that team. So again, you got to figure they're going to get better as the season goes on. So, but right now, all of those teams were like playoff teams and they're 7 or under, right? Cleveland Cavaliers are 3-2. Cleveland Cavaliers are a young team. By no means are they going to make the playoffs this year. But it just goes to show the parity. And the reason you're seeing parity is because the coaching level, the coaching game has gone up. Very few bum coaches in the NBA. These guys know what they're doing. Staffs, they all into analytics, so that's what's causing a lot of parity in the NBA. So right now, the top of the East, Knicks, Bulls, Charlotte, and Washington, and then followed by Miami. That's the top of the East right now. Okay. And I would not be surprised if it remained in that kind of situation, those teams jockeying for position. Now, like I said, Brooklyn, if Kyrie comes back, they're going to make a move. Milwaukee will make a move once Brook Lopez and Jrue Holiday come back. Jrue Holiday's dealing with a bum knee and Brook Lopez has back problems, which I don't know. We'll see. But there's going to be an uphill battle. And then of course, Philly with Ben Simmons is going to try to make a run. They're going to try to make a run back. All of these teams are going to come back, but it's going to be an uphill battle because the unavailability of the players they need is causing them to fall farther behind in the Eastern Conference in the meantime, right? So this is going to be interesting, going forward. It's going to be very interesting. Now, last night, Mitchell Robinson tweaked his ankle, but the thing is about if you notice, watch his feet. They have these very thick, ankle braces on his feet. I think that saved him last night. It's not uncommon. That has happened many times in players' career. Like Stephen Curry's first 4 years were fraught with ankle problems. He really had a lot of ankle injuries in his first couple of years in the league. And then eventually he started wearing the thick braces and then all of a sudden he had a problem. He was okay. And then, the Knicks had a player that once led the nation in rebounding and scoring coming out of TCU. And he had ankle problems his first few years. He got drafted by Miami. They gave up on him because of ankle problems. But then again, over time, his ankle problems got better. And, he ended up becoming a good player. What was that guy's name? Kurt Thomas. Y'all remember Kurt Thomas. I was glad he was on our team because that boy could be a hack, man. I hate to be on the other team. He was rough on defense, but he started with a whole bunch of ankle problems. So does Mitchell Robinson. And there's other players. Same thing. So I'm not worried about that too much, especially now with today's technology. And again, they put them thick ankle braces on him. And so, I'm more concerned with his foot. And I think he is too, making sure his foot is okay. But, the ankles, he's going to get that. That's going to be part of going forward during the season. A lot of players going to have ankle sprains. And then you got players now missing games for ankle sprains. That's what happened. Matter of fact, I think Cade Cunningham haven't even made his debut because of ankle sprains. So it is what it is. But he came back, same game, and was effective and helped us win the game. See? So, Again, a healthy Mitchell Robinson. That means no broken bones. And we're going to be top 3 in the East because he makes that kind of a difference for us. Last night, his stats weren't, it wasn't eye pop. You look at the stat sheet, you ain't going to see, but you got to watch the game. The effect he has on the defensive end of the game, which allows the Knicks to become more aggressive, because we can press more, because they got Loch Ness Monster back there, right? And he moves. He's always had tremendous ability to cover ground. That's the first thing I noticed about him when I first saw him in the Summer League 3 years ago. He can cover a lot of ground very quickly. That's very big time in today's NBA because you can't be as physical, as you used to be in the NBA. So the name of the game defensively is how much speed, how quickly can you cover ground and recover? How quickly can you chase people off the 3-point line? How quickly can you help out and get back on your man? Mitchell Robinson does this in spades at a very high level, one of the best in the NBA at it right now. So that, along with his tremendous length and athletic ability, and you see what we got. So, is what it is. But yeah, I like what happened last night. I like how we won the game. It was a grinded out game. We did not play our best. And that's another thing. Knicks are looking to be a 48-minute team. They didn't play 48 minutes of good basketball last night. Matter of fact, you saw the Bulls make a run. You saw the Bulls make a run and come back, right? So they didn't play good 48 minutes a game in the fourth quarter. They didn't play good. And I'm telling you, Julius is going to figure it out. He is. And Mitchell Robinson. Every week, RJ's getting better. People are not noticing that, but every week, he's improving. Wait till February. Wait till, down the stretch. The Knicks are going to be much better than you see right now. Okay? Then, every week now, every game, Kemba's getting more comfortable, getting more acclimated. We need him to continue to be aggressive every game. Okay. He was a little tentative beginning of the game yesterday, was driving me crazy, but he became more aggressive as the game went on. Part of the reason, again, Lonzo was guarding him, and Lonzo's a tough defender. There's some of Kemba's moves Lonzo wasn't happening. So it was very tough for him a little bit, but as the Knicks kept pounding the paint on them and left Kemba some open threes, and Kemba was nailing, right? So then, of course, D-Rose was D-Rose. It's a team. We really got a good team. IQ is IQ. Obi was Obi. He had 13 minutes last night. It was what it is. Again, I want Obi to get more minutes, but what is what it is. And Alec Burks, played Alec Burks basketball. The Knicks got a good team. And we're not even dealing with our rookies yet. Okay, you're not going to see them for a minute, but you'll see them as time goes on. You're not going to see them. Tom is not going to say, I need to get the rookies time to develop. He's not that type of coach, y'all. He's not going to do that. He's trying to solidify his rotation. That's why he stresses great practice, which means you put your all in practice like it's a playoff game. And the rookies are doing that apparently because he said it a couple of times. So that when they do need them to come in, and they're going to get their chance to play, sprained ankles, bruised muscles and all that, you're going to get in the 82 game season. Everybody's going to get a chance to play. So, but he wants them to be ready. In the meantime, he focuses on that 10-minute rotation. Okay. He's focusing on it. That's why you ain't seen Kevin Knox either. Okay. It's not that he doesn't like these guys. He's got a 10-man rotation. He's picked who it is. And now you see it. And these guys are not in the rotation. So they got to be ready. So when their number is called, they can step up. The next guy up on the forward spot is going to be Kevin. If you can't see Obi go, or you can't see Julius go, you're going to see Kevin, right? Or if RJ has a problem, or Burks, you're going to see Kevin, so they got to be ready. Again, the guard spot, you're going to see point guard spot, Miles Deuce, right? And then, of course, if anything, or Evan Fournier never plays 82 games. He just does. So if we could get 65 games out of him, that means 17 games. You're going to have other starters. You might start Alec Burks, but then you're going to have Grimes come in. See? So they're going to get their chance. It's going to come. Don't worry about that. But right now, the focus is on getting the rhythm, getting the flow, getting the cohesion in the 10-man rotation. Because the better we get at that, the more dangerous the Knicks are going to be. Period. This is how it is, right? So, next game is New Orleans. Now, New Orleans, we can't sleep just like we couldn't sleep, shouldn't have slept on Orlando. Cannot sleep on New Orleans. New Orleans is a young team. Zion Williamson is probably not going to play that game. He's still recovering from his foot problem. And he's a little bit overweight. I saw a game they played the other night. Yeah, I think it was Wednesday night. New Orleans played somebody Wednesday night I was watching. It was a good game. They really was giving that team they were playing all they could handle. Who was that? I'm trying to see. They played Atlanta, matter of fact. They played Atlanta and they were winning. They were in the lead in the fourth quarter, and being a young team, they gave it up, right? But, Brandon Ingram took some terrible shots down the stretch, but they're dangerous. You know, that's without Zion Williamson, right? That Trey Murphy, we knew he was going to be good. And he is. Okay. Trey Murphy plays good defense, and they got a brother that they got in the second round. They got a steal also on Herbert Jones out of Alabama in the second round. 4-year player for Alabama. Not a tremendous offensive talent, but boy, he gave fits to a leprechaun on that day. You know, he's long. They put that on him. So, but Atlanta ended up winning by 3, against New Orleans. So it was a tough game. So don't sleep on New Orleans. We got to come down there. I think you're going to see you'll probably see a Nerlens Noel sighting, you know, in New Orleans. It's a good game for him to come back on. I'm not sure how the minutes are going to work though. I'm not sure, because I like the way Mitchell Robinson's playing and Taj Gibson coming behind him. And then you got Taj in that small ball lineup. I don't know how he's going to I don't know what he's going to do I have no idea what Tom Thibodeau's going to do with Nerlens Noel. I really don't know. Unless, you know, he sits Taj and lets Nerlens take those minutes. And, you know, and I understand that. That would make a lot of sense, but daggone Taj Gibson plays so well on that second unit. But we're going to see what happens. But I think you're going to see a Nerlens Noel sighting in New Orleans. It's a good game for him to come back to. So let's see if we can get this win. The Knicks get this win against New Orleans. And the Knicks will be what? The Knicks would be, 5-1? 6-1? What the Knicks would be? They get this win, they'll be 5-1. Okay? All right. Let's see. November is a pretty important month. I mean, right now. So as everybody's not healthy, like I said, you got Milwaukee's not healthy. You got Philly's not put together. You got Boston not together. Brooklyn don't have Kyrie. Now's the time to stack up some wins, right? So hopefully the Knicks take advantage of that. Right now, apparently they are. They're taking on the best in the East and beating them. Okay. So it's time. Let's keep this up. Let's keep this up. And I have no doubt they're going to continue. So Saturday night against New Orleans, I'll be watching the game. After the game, we're going to do, KOT, Nick of Time. Jay Ellis and I are going to be on after the game, do a little analysis. Ryan G, I don't think he's going to be in the building Saturday night, but me and Jay Ellis are going to hold it down till he can come back. But please have a good Friday out there. Friday night can be fun, but it could also be dangerous. So be careful out there, on Friday night. Really, be safe this weekend. Enjoy your weekend. We're now getting into the November's, you believe November 1st is Monday. So we're going to be going into this whole holiday season thing. So be careful out there. Be safe this weekend and enjoy the game. Shalom. Those of you keeping Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. We'll talk to y'all soon. Have a good day.